Yeah.
I remember seeing her growing up, and I was like, wow, there's like a girl, like she's one of the first like women's champs. This is actually cool seeing women starting doing MMA. And then I saw Rousey get beat by Holm and Nunez, and Nunez easily became one of my favorites because she's been, the last 10 years, she's been like the running champ. So she's been easily one of my favorites just because she's the GOAT and she's so savage in her wins. Like all of them, you know, I remember when she actually got beat by Kat Zingano, but I remember when she was about to TKO Kat Zingano, she actually gave Kat Zingano like a traumatic brain injury. She had Zingano's head like bouncing off the pavement, the canvas. I mean, I love her. She's just a crazy, dirty style. Not dirty, but you don't want to fight her. Nobody wants to fight Amanda Nunez.
Right.
So she's definitely one of my favorite over the last 10 years, influencing because like she stayed steady with it.
She has been genuinely, and if you are a fighter in general, like man, woman, it doesn't matter. Like, and you're not inspired by Amanda Nunez, like, I don't think you like MMA very much because she has not only carried 2 divisions, but cleaned out 2 divisions. Like, there's no one that's really, I mean, other than, when she did lose, like, there was nobody really that was on her level, like, whatsoever. And when she beat, you know, Ronda Rousey, like, it was, you know, and then she beat Cyborg, and like it was just like
man, when she beat Cyborg, that was crazy.
Yeah, because Cyborg was just this, you know, boogie woman that was in another company, and then she came over, and it was like completely different. It was like almost a different Cyborg, but Cyborg was still very effective as what she was doing, and very scary as well. So yeah, Amanda Nunez was just showed that she could just genuinely be a killer. And then she cleaned out divisions after that. It was like, who's going to take down Amanda Nunez? Oh, just herself, because she'll just retire.
Right. And it is just herself because the match that she lost was, in my opinion, didn't train as hard as she should have for the first Pena match. I think that she kind of like mistook Pena for just being like a tomato can. And Pena's not a tomato can, but she's not better than Amanda at Amanda's prime. So I think Amanda took that L and was like, oh man, I got to really train for this next one, and came back and just demolished Aldana. That was a beautiful retirement fight. I like couldn't have done it better. And then, you know, retired, and she's gonna start this beautiful family. She's got a ton of belts to hang up on her wall.
Right. Yeah, I've seen the display case that she's taken a picture of recently, and I was like, that's awesome, because it's the old belt, the new belt. It's, you know, she's just shown that she's a killer, and you just walk by it when you're going to her house one day.
Yeah, that is so sick. I've seen that case too, and you can see the belts through the years, and she's one of the only people that'll ever get to say that, you know, that'll ever get to have a display that she is one of the only people that will ever have a display case like that besides John Jones, you know.
Right.
So she's one of the best, and nobody can argue otherwise.
Now, speaking of Ronda Rousey, there are, as we're recording this, there are the rumors that her pro wrestling contract is about to run out and she may return to the UFC. What are your thoughts? Because she's been out for a while, and I mean, I know that she loves training. I imagine she still does it on a regular basis, and now she's farm strong because she's living on a farm with her husband and her family. Do you think her coming back to the UFC how do you think that will pan out? Because, you know, the women's division has gotten so much stronger since she's been gone. So it might be a little scary for her.
Yeah, I think that really all of that was just kind of talk. I think it's been all rumors because Amanda Nunez is out, and they need something new to make the center, and nobody really wants to make Pena the center because she's talking too much trash and she's annoying people. So
does everybody else, and like they love it. So it doesn't make. You have Conor McGregor, who has, I think, multiple cases against him right now, and he's fine. John Jones, the same situation, but if, you know, Amanda Pena is doing it, like, that's not okay? Like, how does that make any sense?
And from what I've seen a couple things online about how, like I think Ariel Helwani a couple days ago said that she is not considering a UFC comeback to be honest, it didn't surprise me because when she lost to Amanda Nunes at Holly Holm, she ended up spending a lot of time in the hospital, actually, having like mental problems. And so like it seemed like the fame and the success and also like the hate that comes from losing that inevitably comes if you even take one wrong step on the internet. I think all that was a lot for her, and so I don't see her at 36 years old coming back when she has a new child. I think she's an infant, a toddler. This husband, this farm. She's done it all. She's been a UFC world champ. She's been in the WWE as a star. She's been in movies. She's been in commercials. She's been in TV shows. I think she's ready to probably chill out.
Yeah. I mean, also, I've been talked to a lot of pro wrestlers over the time I've done this, luckily, and a lot of them have mentioned that WWE kind of helps control what movies you may do or what commercials you may do or whatever it is. But once you were gone, the world is your oyster and you can kind of do whatever you want. And she already has that name value that she could easily go back into the movies if she wanted to, easily back into the commercials, sponsored by anybody and everybody. She could even go be a coach if she really wanted to.
Right.
But she's
been an Olympian already.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
She along with like people like Amanda Nunes, they can really sit down and say, I've done everything, and like, I don't think anybody should, flock her, give her any shame for like saying, all right guys, I'm gonna chill, I'm not gonna do any sort of other contract or any sort of, UFC comeback. I'm 36 years old, I'm having children. I just want to live the rest of my life peacefully. Yeah.
No, I mean, that makes complete sense. And she has the upper hand on that. If whatever she does want to do, she can go do. Otherwise, or she could just have a nice family, live on a farm. And like you said, she's done everything. What else does she really need to accomplish?
Right. I can't think of anything else that you could say Ronda Rousey needs to do to make her more of a badass. Like, she doesn't need to go get another world championship. Once you're a world champion, you're always a world champion.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Now, you've also done some commentating on your own. I mean, I don't exactly see Ronda Rousey doing it, no offense to her, but talking has always been not her favorite thing to do. So, but you have actually been on the other side of the table when it comes to commentating. Does that look like a long-term thing for you, or is it just kind of fun doing it whenever it does pop up?
Yeah, I actually love commentating. I think it's really cool, and I would love to probably like soon branch out into MMA commentating. Currently I do jiu-jitsu commentating, submission only grappling, which I love because I have an extensive background in grappling, so I understand it. It makes a lot of sense. Whereas there's some things in MMA that I feel like I need to still learn and work on. So I understand I might need a little bit more time to learn the ropes of MMA, but I love grappling commentating. Like, in general, I could talk to somebody for hours about a match or what's on the TV or about MMA and wrestling and grappling and how to do a move and how to counter it and the like. And so to be able to sit there and get paid for it, to sit there for 4 hours, 5 hours and just talk about it and get paid for it and watch it front row, it's the dream of somebody who's an MMA or grappling junkie. So I'm a big fan of it. Laura Sanko, as you probably know, has recently started commentating for the UFC, which is really exciting because it really opens the door for the future of women's commentating. And, kind of opens the door for maybe one day down the line I can be commentating for really big promotions like Invicta or LFA or PFL or maybe even Bellator or UFC, it would be amazing to 10 years down the line look back and be a UFC commentator and be like, wow, I wanted to say it and I did that.
Yeah, I know, we have Lauren Hill also, not Lauren Hill, Angela Hill, I'm sorry. Also be, one of the talking heads. She's done a couple fights as well. I think she's fantastic and she's a wealth of knowledge as well. And then, like you said, Lauren's done absolutely an amazing job. Her and Michael Bisping play off each other really well too, which I like a lot. I really want them to, I know the pay-per-view card is usually locked with Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, and John Anik, but if you throw, I think Laura would be great on one of those even if they, Michael Bisping stepped in a couple of times, and, what's his face is skipping my brain. But anyway, their commentating team has always been fantastic, and I like the way they kind of throw everybody in there. Even Dominic Cruz is so great because the way he kind of will put in the little things that I think a lot of people may not think about as to what people should do or what people could do to get out of certain moves or combinations or whatever, has always been really good. So, but I'm looking forward to the day that there's an all-women commentating team, even just on one card. I think that would be amazing and something that the UFC could easily do I would say within the next 5 years, let alone 10 years.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. You definitely have to have some women up there that are super knowledgeable and know what they're talking about. That way, none of the internet trolls can talk any crap. Because
they're going to anyway. So
yeah, you're right. You're right. That's the first thing people will try to say is that that's why you don't put a girl in there because she doesn't know what she's talking about. So you got to get people like Laura Sanko and Angela Hill and some of the greats that Laura Sanko actually has a pro MMA record. You know what I mean? She's an actual fighter. I believe she's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. She actually knows what she's talking about, which is what's really cool about her commentating for the UFC. It's she kind of really did go full circle. Not that she was a UFC fighter, but she was an Invicta fighter.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, like you said, we mentioned it multiple times already. The internet's undefeated, but the internet is also full of trolls that love to just pick apart the dumbest things that people love about MMA, BJJ, pro wrestling, the world, really. There's trolls. If you like something, there's always going to be a troll within the group that's going to just shit on everything, and it doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how awesome and everybody unanimously, except for 5 people, don't like it. They will find something to shit on, and it's always good to find the other side of the internet where there are so many positive people, and we're, telling the stories of these fighters that people may not know. So it makes whatever victory that, somebody else thinks is trash even better than it was just watching it live.
Right. And I think women's MMA in general and MMA in general is exploding right now. And so now so many people are getting involved in it and so many people are getting interested in it. I know a lot of people that I went to high school with or whatever that back when I wrestled in high school, people would make jokes oh, were you gonna be in the UFC? And it's okay, well screw you, I just like to wrestle. Nowadays I've actually seen people from high school who would hit me like, oh my god, I think it's so cool that you're doing MMA or whatever. Are you gonna try to be in the UFC? And I'm like, you know what? It was different connotation 5 years ago. So I think so many more people are becoming fans of UFC and MMA in general that I think so many more people are becoming haters too. Because you have all those couch potato keyboard warriors that are oh well, I would have just not tapped out. I would have just done this. It's yeah, well, you couldn't even just get in the gym in the first place.
Yeah.
So, you can't pay too much mind to what people have to say online because most of them have never been there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They don't even know what it's like being in that hold, let alone how to reverse the hold.
Right.
I could watch a fight all day and be like, okay, so they missed this shot. I'm not doing it. I'm not in there. I'm not, having the sweat come down my face or the blood come down my face as I'm trying to, compete with another human being. So I think a lot of these, it's sad, but it's also really hilarious because then you look at some of their other posts and you're like, oh, you just don't like everything because you don't like yourself. And so it's up to you.
You're just a private profile that has 0 followers and 83 posts. It's always somebody that is not showing their face, or if they are showing their face, they're a loser. There's somebody that doesn't do anything besides play video games. And it's well, if you're going to make fun of me, at least be better than me. So if they're not better than me, I don't take too much time into it. But you know what? I've never had someone that's better than me or that's doing really good in life hit me up or comment on my post at least with their actual Instagram and talk down on me. So you know what that means? That people that are doing really good in life aren't talking down on other people. They're just worrying about themselves and getting their own things done.
Exactly. Now, this kind of segues into my next question. As much as the